We're live, George. What's going on, man?
What is up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to
Another Wednesday.
Another Wednesday. We're glad to be here. I'm excited, man. Are you excited to be here? I'm excited to be above the ground and not below it.
Oh, you got that right. I got too much to do, man.
Yeah.
I've got a long list of like to-dos that I got to get finished before I'm allowed to die. So Qatar's got me. Yeah, she's gonna keep me alive, I think, for another 80 years, bro.
I hear you. Well, welcome everybody again. Welcome to Champion Your Culture. We are here and sponsored by Culture of Good, and we're so excited to be here this week. I'm excited. We got a very good friend of ours that we're going to be bringing on here shortly that's going to be joining us, that is doing great things in Arizona. And
with the Diamondbacks,
with the Arizona Diamondbacks. So, this is when anybody says, "Do I know anybody famous?" I'll name off a couple people, show pictures, but they say call somebody that's really important, and I'm like, I can't call Joe, but there's this picture, and I show him on my LinkedIn. So that's the most important person I got. I know a lot of people, but Joe's kind of a cool guy. That I know that we both had the opportunity to meet at a conference back in March before everything. We were on the flight home. It was the last flight that I had before.
Was that 2019?
2020.
2020. Yeah, 2020.
March 2020. We're in the mountains overseeing Arizona State's football field. You remember that? You and I were up there, just having some mental time and relaxing. The view was beautiful.
I had no idea the whole world was about to shut down, man.
No idea.
And we were there, and Joe was there at a conference, and we're talking about purposeful, meaningful work and culture and engaging. And that's why I'm like, well, I already said his name, Joe Walsh with Arizona Diamondbacks, our friend that's going to be on today. But yeah, there's so many great leaders, George, that are focused on people, that really, really understand not just the value of people to the organization, but the value of the person to the team, and also just the value of the human being. And to be able to bring that experience into work and rehumanize the workplace, regardless of what industry. So yeah, I'm excited because we met a couple years ago, but now here we are, coming together on Champion Your Culture podcast, which is really cool, man.
And so just a couple of house announcements, and let's get in the conversation with Joe, because I'm excited about that. We got our culture champion certification coming up January
24th and 25th. 24th and 25th. What we do at Culture of Good is we train, coach, and develop leaders. So if you're an organization and you're saying, you know what, we really would love to have some leadership and development around soft skills, hard skills. It can be anything around culture, engagement, culture change. A lot of what we do has to do with development and ensuring that your teams and leaders are really leading. And that's what we do and we provide. And so we're excited about our 2-day virtual training. That is a training that equips internal leaders with the tools and tactics to build a culture of good that engages employees, customers, and your community as one streamlined effort. So if you're interested in that certification, it's a lifetime Culture of Good certification. It happens January 24th and 25th. That's the big thing coming up. And then on this podcast today, George, I guess the biggest thing is we have Joe Walsh on with us. I want to read his bio before we bring him in. Do you have anything else that we need to cover before we bring Joe?
Nope. Let's talk about the man of the minutes.
All right, here's who we have coming in. Joe Walsh is in his 6th season as Senior Vice President of People and Culture for the Arizona Diamondbacks, 10th in the Major League Baseball and 22nd in the professional sports industry. In his role, Joe oversees all people-related responsibilities for the D-backs, including culture, leadership development, talent acquisition, retention, team player relations, diversity, equity, inclusion, total rewards, organization development, wellness, HRIS, and payroll. He also develops and delivers the D-backs Leadership Academy an annual year-long cohort of team players engaged in classroom leadership development curriculum. I mean, what does this guy not do?
Sleep.
Let's go ahead and welcome Joe Walsh onto Champion Your Culture. Joe, what's happening, man?
Hey guys, it's great to be here. And it's funny, George, you said sleep. I'm working on that. That's in the development plan for myself. More sleep.
That's in your IDP.
It is my IDP. When you hear that, always uncomfortable hearing about myself. That's just me. But none of this happens alone. It starts from the top with our managing general partner, Ken Kendrick, who allows this to exist, Derek Hall, our president, CEO, my boss, and then, my people and culture team, or our team, not our team. And then, 400 other full-time folks and another 800 part-time folks that bring our games and events alive when they're on the schedule. So if you take anything away, you don't do it alone. You do it with others.
Yeah. You have to have that team around you that is bought in, that has a desire to lead, and they're empowered, right? Because you guys are empowering your team to not just know what's going on in the organization, but actually to own it themselves and lead with you, which I really love the ideas of empowering leaders. You do a leadership academy we've talked about. And that's a big part of your development, is ensuring, and right away you started talking about owner, CEO, president, like you started, like, yeah, if you don't have it up top, you don't have it, right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And, I've got the best job in the building. I'll brag. That's my one brag there, because I have this permission to make people better, to help people better, to coach people get better, to catch people doing the right thing. Right? It's not about discipline and performance reviews and all the bad things you didn't do. It's about what is the good. And so 2 years ago, when I learned about the culture of good, when I was so everyone out there, I was the entree to the keynote speaker, Mr. Ryan McCarty. So I was the hors d'oeuvre. He was the steak or the chicken or the fish. And we met the day
turkey.
Before.
You could have used turkey, Joe.
Turkey, yeah. Turkey. You're vegan, whatever you like, vegan.
Oh, actually, I'm a meat eater now, so yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we met the day before, and that's where I was blessed to meet my good friend George Rogers. We met and had a nice lunch and learned about the culture of good and everything going with it. And another lesson for the listenership out here in the virtual world: don't forget who you meet along the way. I mean, this friendship, this relationship started over 2 years ago, and it was the day before COVID hit the fan. So here we are.
Yeah. And I love that idea that you connect along the way.
Yeah.
And it creates an opportunity for us to be able to meet people that have the same type of values or the same value set that we do, or at least there's alignment there, right? Because we're always looking for opportunities for how do we bring people together. One of the ways to bring people together is identify what do they care most about.
Right.
And once we knew, the three of us, that we really care about people and culture, I mean, it was just like a really cool transition over to that. So,
hey, I want to jump in. When I reached out to you, Joe, and said, hey, we would love to have you. It would be our honor. And I've tried to reach out and keep connected. It's just kind of who I am. I just love people. And you were always good to me from the first night we met. And one of the things that really bless my heart and I like to watch from afar, and I know that you do the same for us, and we appreciate your support, is in your role, in your position, the impact that y'all are doing is internal, right? First, it starts with the leadership and the top down, but y'all do a lot of things that impacts the community. And a lot of good in that. You sent me some information, some things that y'all are developing and working on. And I would love to just kind of talk about that just for a little bit about what you and your team are doing to impact, because it's not just the leadership, the things that you're doing from a DE&I perspective, for those who don't know those initials, diversity, equity, inclusion, and even belonging. We can add that to that piece as well. As a team, y'all are really doing some things that's making the community proud, that's really doing a lot of connections and impact on that side. Can you talk a little bit about that development that y'all have going on?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for the question, George. This entity, the Arizona Diamondbacks, is known for, it's not me just being a homer. It's really known across all major leagues as being super active in the community. And in terms of the Arizona Diamondbacks Foundation, overseen by Senior Vice President Debbie Castaldo, who's been here for a long time. Again, with the permission of our owner and CEO, we go out and through that community, that nonprofit entity, we raise millions of dollars a year. I think we're somewhere south of 80 million over the last 20 years. Wow. So probably smack me because I don't have the exact number, and I'm on a live stream, but I'm going to say 80 million because we're close to 80 million.
That's awesome.
And all that money goes back to grants. It goes back to underserved communities. It goes back to education. It goes back to health and wellness. And one of the coolest things I saw when I got here nearly 5.5 years ago was the employees, or we use the word team player. We don't say employee. Yeah. You're a D-backs team player.
I love that.
A large part of this money is kicked back. Debbie's group will kick back to the team players, and the grant submittals are given to the employees to rate and rank and judge. And at the end of the day, the employees, whoever wants to be a part of this, give back, are really at the pinch point of where these millions go. So it's not, hey, I know someone at the D-backs, I'm going to give $5 million this year, and I want it to go there. It doesn't stop there. We actually have our team players involved, reading the grants and understanding why these people are asking for this money, and then the determination is made by 50 or so people, which is really different for me. I've seen nonprofits before. I've seen money raised and granted. I've never seen it thrown back to the employee base to weigh in on these decisions. So that's really cool. So, and my purpose of saying this is that we are continuing to evolve our community activations that have been going on for a long, long time. And, DE&I became a bigger thing to the horrible murder of George Floyd and others during the COVID times. But we are very proud to say we've been involved for a long, long time. And sports teams have a really interesting seat at the table, right? We're fun, where people go to blow off a little steam. But every one of these teams is a steward of the community in which they reside. Ours being Phoenix, Arizona, the state of Arizona. And so some of the things we've been doing for a long time, if you play Little League in this state, there's a really good chance, probably 90% or higher, you're going to be kitted up in a D-backs jersey, uniform, T-shirt. This defrays large costs for these small Little Leagues and smaller towns of across your state. We have a jersey program that has thousands and thousands of teams and leagues involved every single year. So we have a warehouse downstairs. Justin Payne, my friend who runs that warehouse, is constantly pulling his hair out because he didn't have enough room to store all these jerseys. But that's a very cool, small yet big way we're active in the community. Just tonight, I signed up for a volunteer shift. All the community stuff is thrown out for the team players to volunteer. So at 5 o'clock tonight, I'm headed to the west side of Phoenix to a Target store where we're going to take, I think, 35 to 40 kids from a place called Homeward Bound.
I've heard of Homeward Bound.
Yeah. And we're gonna pair them up with individual team players and give each a couple $100 and go shopping for the holidays. And then we wrap the gifts together. We feed them dinner, and they get back on their bus and go back to where they came from. But this is one of my funnest top events to volunteer for every year. And there's probably 5 or 6 events a week that are tossed out by Debbie's group to get teams to volunteer. And I'll add one more. I mean, again, we can go on forever, but just it was November 18th. We were all got on a bus, about 50 of us, to Winslow, Arizona, standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona, if you're an Eagles fan. Take it easy. And we opened up our 44th D-backs field, and this is part of the Diamondbacks field building program. Think about it, 44 ballparks with we put the sod in, the light standards, the dugouts, you name it. What am I missing? Electronic scoreboards, backstops, fencing, and we build it, and it gets built through third parties and people on the team here. But there's a dedication, right? Every time this field opens, there's a dedication. 200 to 300 people show up, and Winslow is kind of fun because one of our executive vice president and our CFO, Mr. Tom Harris, who's been here for 25 years or so, he didn't know it, but we named the field Tom Harris Field in the town he grew up in. And
that's cool.
Somehow we were able to surprise him. I give Debbie and her team credit there. But when the unveiling happened and this big tarp came off the scoreboard, it said Tom Harris Field, Winslow, Arizona. And it was really emotional for a kid who played Little League just across the street to have a name on his field. And then, to do that. And then, one of our values is longevity, right? And longevity is recognizing and honoring the people that have been in this organization for years, like a Tom Harris. So that was all done by our community impact department. So again, I could go on for hours on this, but it's a big part of what we do, and we always have done it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'll follow up that, and I'll let Ryan jump in because you just mentioned one of your core values. A lot of the things that y'all are doing internally, externally, the impact that you're doing in the community is really built on your core values. I know at Culture Good, we have 5 promises that is really the heartbeat of who we are and what we do, and really ultimately the why of what we're doing. What are some of those core values? Because having that not just on a plaque or on a piece of paper, but it's a lifestyle that you guys are living, your team is living. What are some of those things as far as the core values and how they really impact the culture of Arizona Diamondbacks?
Yeah, thanks, George, and thanks for the question. We do have plaques and values, and we have a wallet card that we developed as well. And again, Derek and I came up with an acronym called BUILD, BUILD. And really, like any buzzword with a value, it's more than that. These are active words and beliefs that drive and motivate behavior. So B is belonging, U is unified, I is integrity, L is longevity, and D is development. And are these words aspirational? You better believe it. But they're also words that we want to find examples of. We want to catch people behaving. When we launched this thing, my final comment was, let's catch people, team players, doing things right. And here's the training wheels. Here's the guide to that, which is BUILD. And so we actually launched a recognition system that is based on shout outs using a hashtag with these 4 value words, BUILD. And it's really taken off in 6 weeks. And it's there's a longer story to the platform we're using, but it's a wonderful platform. It is a third-party startup out of Salt Lake City, Utah, called Nectar HR, NECTAR HR. If you want to go look up their stuff,
very cool.
I'm always available to talk about the success there. They have several teams across pro sports using the platform, and I'm one of their evangelizers because it's really done well here.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's really cool. And so what in terms of using technology when HR professionals, like at what point within an organization, in terms of your what your thoughts are, at what point do we need to start automating some of that, where it's we're bringing in technology into how we're engaging with people, like how, because early on, if you have 100 people in your business, you may not need as much technology, but now that you've expanded and grown, and it's more difficult to stay engaged with people all the time. So has it helped? Like, how has that helped the technology side of it?
I mean, it's a great question, but and I'll tell you, it's right here on my handset.
Yeah.
It's a must. I'm looking for the right adjective here, but you can't do it without technology. And the reason why is, think about the workplace. It's not just a brick and mortar office anymore. It's people all over the place.
It's true, man. It's
virtual, hybrid. We've got amateur scouts, 50 of them out all across the country. We have scouts in the Dominican Republic. We have coaches and player development people that we may see them in Arizona once a year. And so to connect, you got to have something. Email works, texting works, but this platform, we looked at about 10 of these platforms, guys, and this was the one we chose. But I suggest, whether you're 5 people or 500, you need some sort of tool or platform, and this is the one we chose, and so hopefully it works for a long time.
I love that, because when we first started Culture Good, there was no technology, anything around culture engagement, but we used hashtags. Like that's how we centralized all of our stores across all the states. We were in 42 states, and we created a movement because we all did good on the same day or week, and then we all hashtagged out Culture of Good. And so across the country, everybody in an aggregate was able to see everyone else's good that was going on. As a collective, the power of a hashtag brought everyone into one collective culture. It was really cool because it was the ability to share, the ability to connect, and that, I think, is really important. What as far as a ball team, like, when you think about who the ball team is in terms of the culture and what you want to be known for, obviously great ball players and great baseball. You need fans showing up at your games, right? That's a given. You want to play great baseball. Beyond baseball, let's talk beyond baseball as a team. What do you want to be recognized and known for as an organization?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm going to go right back to community activation. Tonight I'll be there with Dave McKay, who's our legendary first base coach and base running coach. There'll be 5 other players there. And I saw the list last night. There's some of the young kids, which is kind of cool, because the number one shopping thing is video games for girls and boys. When we we take them to Target. And so you're going to have some of our young kids that are 22, 23-year-olds saying, I'm going to help you out with shopping for video games and whatnot. That's a micro example. However, we want to be known for community activation. I mean, look, Derek will always say, hey, control what you can. Can 400 full-timers control wins and losses? I mean, I guess if you work in the baseball operations world, you could work on batting techniques and throwing techniques and practice and whatnot. But let's say I'm a guy in IT. How am I controlling it? Well, I'm going to have a great desktop support operation. I'm going to make sure the data is accurate and your computer and phone get fixed. However, I don't control a 4-3 win or a shutout or a perfect game or whatever. So we do control a lot of things, but not wins and losses. So even if our team is terrible, our job doesn't change, right? If we lose 10 in a row, we still got to come in and work on our goals, work on our values, behave according to our values, do our shout outs, volunteer at Target, build a ballpark in Winslow, Arizona. That's all. That happens regardless of whether the team wins or loses. So I think it's that. I think it's development of our team players, making sure that we are moving people along, giving people more responsibility, having tough conversations. That's one that comes up every day in this office, right? I mean, you can avoid these things, but sometimes you got to look someone in the eye and have a tough conversation. Is this the right place? Is this the right job? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Are you happy? Are you happy?
I mean, let's stop right there. I mean, that's the question, right?
Yeah.
Like, do we want people working for us and with us that are not happy? I mean, and it's not just about like this feeling of like, oh, life is easy, work is simple. It's not that. It's that sense of fulfillment, meaning, purpose. I'm here for a reason, and I contribute meaningfully in a way that is recognized, it's noticed, and it matters.
Right.
But that idea.
You nailed it there. I said it yesterday, and I probably say it a lot because I've been around longer than I like to admit. But one of my famous statements is, hey, Ryan, hey, George, show me your job description and where the bullet on your job description in duties or KPIs or whatever. Show me where it says you get to show up and make people mad or be a disruptor in a meeting or be a jerk or whatever word you want to use. That's not in your job. We don't pay you to do that. And then I'll say, hey, George, are you taking all the money? This comes from another mentor years ago. And George says, yeah, I'm cashing my paycheck. I'm like, well, you're not doing your whole job. So give me some money back because you're not doing everything on your job description. I mean, that's kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing, but if you're not doing your whole job, I suggest maybe you can't take the whole money. But again, these come down when conversations get tough, and sometimes organizationally, when you help a person, and this is more than the D-backs, this is my career talking. When you help a person decide that maybe this is not the right place, that's actually good work. That's good cultural work.
That's coaching, right? Yeah. I mean, that's really coaching. That's like coaching someone. We talk about it, Joe, as coaching people either up, over, or out. Right. But you're coaching them, right? Like if you have to fire someone, we understand that. But as much as possible, you coach someone out because you want them to succeed, and you will not succeed if you're miserable on your team. Yeah. If you're unengaged, right? I think that's such a powerful idea to be able, like you. So you said you are willing to look at someone and say, are you actually happy here? Like that's a great question to ask.
Have done it many times. Twice already this week, and it's only Wednesday.
Well, George just got on our team. So George, are you happy here?
I'll tell you next week. We're going to be live in person next week. I'll be in Indy.
Yeah, right.
And I'll tell you if I really love the place. If I get the Joe, they got at the headquarters of Culture Good Round Room. Our great CEO Scott Moorhead. New facility has a second floor slide that takes you all the way down to the first floor. So nice. As long as I get to ride the slide, and it's fast. I mean, don't wear a hat because it's gone. Like
it's an old metal slide you remember in the park as a kid that you would not want to go down in the middle of the summer because it'd burn your legs and you just get burnt up. Yeah, it's one of those.
It's called the de-stressor because once you get down there, you lose everything comes off of you. So you feel different. You're either going to feel different or you're going to feel different because you're going to land hard on the ground if you're not ready.
I love it.
But yeah, you got to love what you do. I think this conversation is so vital. I was thinking about this as you were talking, and like, why do people not love what they do? Like, I personally, and I haven't worked with you side by side. I love what I do because not only does I get to work with a friend that I've known for 30 plus years, but I get to work with somebody that truly has a heart for what I have a heart for. Like, we're aligned with the impact, and I enjoy. I know he doesn't like to hear this word, but my mentor, my coach, my leader, and Ryan, I get to enjoy my time with him. A lot of people that are miserable, most of the time, a lot of their mental health decline, especially in the last couple of years, and we have data to back that up, says I don't feel appreciated, accepted, or even respected by my leader. And if that's the case, those people are not connecting and they're leaving. Right. And so leadership has a lot to do with that. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, who wouldn't want to be around Joe? Like, who wouldn't want to be on the team? I'm here, all these great things, not only Joe, but like, the things that your team is doing, Joe, and all the other members, your president, Derek, that's his name, right? Mr. Hall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, everything that's coming down from the top down, like, who wouldn't want to be a part of that culture? Now, not every business is perfect for everybody. And there's always a small percentage. We always used to say in the retail space, we want to give 3% of our clients away and maybe 1.5% of our team for the refresher. But really, culture is really the foundation of what your leadership is. It's not, we can write all these core values down, but really it's about the life that we live as leaders. Can you talk a little bit about your leadership and what built, that out of you? Like, why are you the leader you are today? Was that an impact of a mentor? Like, who was that person that helped you become the leader that you want to lead and impact others?
Yeah, I think that's another great question. And you answered it already, but I've been blessed, and I'll use that word intentionally, to have some incredible mentors and leaders on the way. I've also had some stinkers in my career, and I will tell people, I say this in Leadership Academy, and I wasn't going to say the word stinker, but let's stay with that. You can learn a lot from the stinkers, because you learn that this is the type of leader I don't want to be. This is how I don't want to treat people. And so these are your teachers also. So let's think about people we work for, all different types of people. And I suggest that you could learn just as much from a good boss that you can from a not so good boss. And so for me, that the whole, are you doing the whole job? Are you taking the whole paycheck? That comes from a mentor of mine at TaylorMade Golf years ago. He used to say that all the time. Hey, buddy, are you doing the whole job? Yes, sir. Yeah. Are you taking all the money? Yeah. He's like, well, here's the part of your job you're not doing. And that was told to me. And so these things, they stay with you. And so to answer the question, there's a lot of different things I've been told from mentors and bosses along the way. And look, for me, the value of doing what I get to do, what I get to do, not what I have to do. There's another one. I get to do this job. I don't have to do this job. And for me, that means a whole heck of a lot. And I don't, we do payroll and benefits and recruiting and training and development. But for me, it's all about that conversation. It's all about, behind the door or walking in the concourse. When you work in a stadium, you get these walking meetings. So we get our steps in every day here at Chase Field. But being accessible, being a leader that is always there, always gets back to you. But access, speed, responsiveness, those are some hallmarks for me. I also say these three things about my style, and they are this: appreciate differences, suspend judgment, and lead with empathy. And they're all tied together. But when I say suspend judgment, we all like to have the answers. We all like to be the smartest girl, guy, or person in the room. You don't have all the answers. You never will. So suspend judgment. Always leave that possibility for something you don't know. Context, meaning, definition. Appreciate differences. This is all about the world we're in. The world that's on blast now with DE&I. Like, hey, wait a minute. You don't want all the same people at the table making the decisions. You want different people. You want people all across the world of diversity, right? And it's not just men, women, or ethnicity. It's all kinds of diversity, right? You think about
anything you could think of. The world is so diverse. Yeah, it's beautiful, man.
I've got a chart on my wall. You can't see it, but I put it there so people see it when they walk out my door. It's a pie chart that says defining diversity. It was given to me by a fellow named Oris Stewart, who was head of diversity at the NBA for many years. And there's 48 different categories. And so it really breaks that word down. And I'm sure there's more than 48, but his chart has 48 categories. And you see all kinds of things there. You see religious diversity. You see mental diversity. You see physical diversity. It's like all these people in all these categories have different lived experiences. And when you take those lived experiences to the table when a decision comes up, you're more inclusive. Well, you didn't think about this. You didn't think about that. Well, you say, hey, Joe, we'll be here forever trying to make this decision if we're thinking diversity. I'm like, I don't care. I want these inputs from all different parts of the lived experience.
And that says to every single person coming in the door, whether they're working with you, coming to a game, whatever it is, you matter here. You're just as important as everybody else, whether it's position or And for me, I want to be on a diverse team, not just pick a like I'm looking to work with diversity because I know that's going to benefit me and the team because of exactly what you're talking about. It's a personal benefit. It's a team benefit. It benefits the entire organization, but it really, at the end of the day, is because you have the right kind of heart to do it. It's not a program. Like DEI is programmed, but really at the end of it, you have to have people actually care. You have to have people,
You do, Ryan. And to me, the nightmare scenario for me is having 5 other Joe Walshes in the room. I don't want to be with 5 other people like me. I don't know. I'm all I can handle. I don't
even like myself some days, man. You're absolutely right, man. I don't know that anybody. I don't want me on a team. I don't need 4 more. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, you've dropped a lot of wisdom on us today, man, and shared so much. George, is there anything else you want to pull out of this guy? I mean, man, there's so much. You're on mute, brother.
There we go. There's one thing that's over your shoulder. I don't know which shoulder it is, but I'm always trying to figure out what other leaders are doing.
Yeah.
How they're game planning. Ryan and I, we get the most done, not when we're typing or texting. We get the most done. Ryan has a whiteboard that we roll into the office, and there's something about the whiteboard when you get to just dream and vision. But I see EAP. I don't know what that is, but in big words, I see stressed. And I know that after Ryan got through with your list of duties, responsibilities, and impact that you do, we as leaders, stress is part of the life, and it's even more so. I mentioned the mental health and how we as leaders, that's something else that we have to prepare for. I'm assuming when it comes to stress, that there may be something with your role. What is that about? Is it personal? Is it something that Arizona's doing?
Yeah. It's really cool. And I worked for another Major League Baseball team years ago that had the same program. That's where I learned about it. But Major League Baseball sponsors the EAP, the Employee Assistance Program. They don't tell us who to hire for counselors, but we go ahead and do that. We must have them. But this is an anonymous 1-800 number. And it's a connection. And I don't myself or my team doesn't get reporting on who's calling the EAP or what the issues are. This is completely it's a gift benefit by the company, by Major League Baseball, to an employee, to a minor league player, a big league player. So we have three licensed therapists that are on our staff, and they're great. They're really amazing helpers. And so this is unique to Major League Baseball, but probably not to the industry. It's industry itself. I would hope that these resources are available. Yeah, you can always go through Blue Cross or Cigna, whoever you're tied up with, and find a counselor. But this is another way to do it. And just as we're talking, there's never been a time in corporate America, corporate whatever, where mental health apps, systems, skills, tools, people are more available than they are today. I'm pleased to see the stigma fading away. It's not there yet, but we're evaluating apps. I got a meeting tomorrow talking about, hey, is this app, would this be good for our team players to use? Because just like the Nectar recognition app, it's all here on the phone. And so back to your technology question, Ryan, we got to be there. It's too late if you're not there.
Yeah, my wife, Qatar, has an app, and she's developing the 2.0 right now. It's called Exhale, and it's exactly for it's for Black women and women of color to de-stress and to de-escalate the trauma in their body, or not de-escalate, but to like, de-escalate that stress on the inside and reduce that. And it's more than just a couple breaths. It's internal work, and I tell leaders all the time, if you're a leader in business, you're actually in the business of well-being. Right. And you're in the mental health business, because to have trauma informed workplaces, that's a whole nother conversation. But to know that we carry that trauma through our lives, and we're constantly in a state of trauma, different times, and stressed. I think it's really important for us, I think we end this today with that idea is like, at the end of the day, we're the leaders that you were describing that have had an impact on your life. You show up, you respond, you're quick to show up, and you're there and you're present for people. I think that matters so much. And I want to thank you for being that type of leader, man, because not everybody is, Joe. And, George and I get in contact with a lot of people all the time out there, and so many wonderful leaders, and we just want to continue to amplify your voice and the voice of others. And how do people, I don't want to put all your contact info out there, but you're on LinkedIn, different things. If there's a person out there that has a question about anything they heard today, we'll go ahead and put your info on LinkedIn. Maybe people could connect you through that. Is that the best way?
Yeah, that's the best way. And I was gonna add this, as I do anytime I speak. Find me right directly. My work email, which is jwalsh, JWALSH @dbacks. That's DBACKS.com. And I promise to get back to you within 24 hours with a response. That's my service agreement right there.
That's awesome, man. You really, we owe you a shirt, so we'll be sending this to you. And we'll send you some swag. We really appreciate you being on with us today, Joe. It's man, just to have a friend like you, and it means a lot to us here for sure.
That's great. Well, I'll take you up on that, and I'd love to talk future about we're rolling out Leadership Academy 5.0 next year, and I would love to have you and George do a session, whether it's this way or come on out to Arizona. We'll do a ball game and the whole thing, but I'd love to wire you into the academy.
If we do that, I'm wearing a bikini and getting in that pool.
You got it. We'll make it happen.
We got to have that pool in the stadium. I'm jumping in, brother.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Joe, one last question as we wrap up here. Once again, we appreciate everybody watching. A lot of comments on LinkedIn. And as always, we appreciate you, Joe. One thing that I want to ask every guest moving forward is, this is champion your culture. That's what we do. That's what we are passionate about. And we want to help others champion their culture. What does it mean to champion your culture with the Arizona Diamondbacks?
I think it means showing up and buying in. We're here a lot in the business of baseball. We have 81 home games and probably 5 or 6 humongous concerts. We just had back-to-back Elton John shows about 3 weeks ago. Wow. You're here all the time. And so to champion this culture, you got to like being here. You got to like being connected. So it's a real work-life balance challenge. I've had that problem myself. My better half, Deborah, would attest to that if her picture was next to me. But, I challenge everyone to find that balance. Yet people that work in sport, and for this team particularly, love being here, love being together. We just had our holiday party last Friday, first big one kind of post-COVID. And the number one feedback is, hey, we're all together again. We're having monthly all team player meetings now. Where we'll do Derek will get on the couch and run the meeting like a late night talk show host. People say, hey, it just feels good to be back together again. So you got to want to be together. You got to like each other here, and you got to want to grow and learn and behave towards build. That's where we're at.
That's great. Awesome. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Joe. Thanks for being on. Thank you all for joining us today. We're excited about the upcoming weeks as we're continuing to dive into just getting everybody ready for this coming year, as we look at how to champion your culture, your people. And certainly today's was really important, George, to be able to have Joe as a guest. I just feel really full of just feels really good. Yeah.
There's always the impact, man. We love what we do. It means more to me when I see it done, in other communities, and the impact that Joe and his team, Derek Hall, the CEO, president of the Arizona Diamondbacks, that whole team there, man, they're doing great things in the community. And it's not just something that it's not no marketing ploy. That's something that we always talk about. You always say, it's, when it comes to giving, you have this, I love the quote that you always speak about giving, like it's good to give, right? And that's what we should be doing, but we shouldn't be giving to be seen. But it's always good to be seen giving.
Yeah, exactly.
You said it a lot better, but we don't do it to be seen. We it's great, man. So what Joe and his team are doing is awesome, man. And in the Hispanic community, the Black community, there's so much diversity. The Native American community, they do it. It's everybody, man. They're loving people. So Appreciate you, Joe, and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Appreciate his time here today with us. And yeah, I can't wait next week, man. We're together. We're in person together
again.
So,
like together.
Yeah, we're together. I'm coming up, man.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week as George and I come together on Champion Your
Culture.